If you want to get more work done in less time, so maybe you can have some more time for yourself to do the things that you want to do for yourself, for your family. Or maybe you want to be more productive with your time and maximize productivity because you want to increase your earning capability and you want to bring in more revenue to your firm. We're going to talk about that today as far as how you can run your firm more efficiently, be more productive, manage your time better. I'm Darcel Lobo. I'm an attorney. I own my own law firm, and I also coach lawyers on how to open and run their law firms in a way that's better for them and better for their lives. So let's talk about some of the tips that I've learned over the years of being a solo attorney, of having my solo clients, as far as how they are managing their time, and some tips for you on how to manage your time better. So let's talk about location, because a lot of attorneys these days are working remotely, which is great as long as that works great for you, right? We all know ourselves and when we are more productive and less productive. So I have a brick and mortar office, and I also have my home office, which is where I'm at now. I know that I am far more productive when I'm at my brick and mortar office, right? When I'm at home, even in my home office that has 4 walls and a door, right? There's still always distractions at home. There's always laundry to be done. There's always dishes to be done, right? There's always something to do. So I know that when I'm planning my schedule for my work week, that there are certain days that if I'm in my brick and mortar office, I'm going to be able to get more done. I can have a heavier schedule on those days versus the days that I'm working at home. I just know that I'm not going to be as productive. And that's okay, as long as I know that when I'm planning my day, and as long as you know that when you're planning your day and your work week. So if you are working 100% virtually and just remote, that's great. And if you are productive in doing that, amazing. But if you know that if you're like me and you can be easily distracted by all the things that there are to do at home, you may find that you want to find a location where you can go and really do some, the heavier work and have more focused time with less distractions. There's a lot of office share situations where you can rent conference room or offices by the hour, by the day, without having a full-blown 12-month commitment on a lease, right? And so knowing your work style and productivity and just how your environment affects your productivity, it's going to be a big one for a lot of us. And so again, I know that's true for me, and it's okay that if you're less productive, at home or it's important that you know what works for you. It's not that one is right or wrong. It's just knowing what's better for you and then planning your schedule accordingly. Also, along those same lines is that we all have points in the day where we have maybe higher energy or lower energy, right? So some of you may be first thing in the morning, that's when you have the highest amount of energy. That's when you have the most productivity. For some people, it's midday. For some of my clients, they're night owls and they get some of their best work done in the evening, right? And so there's no right or wrong schedule as far as what your work week should look like. If you're like me and you're, a parent with small children, you have a spouse, you have a family or other, needs or relationships and demands of your time, you're going to need to figure out kind of what time you need for others, what time you need for yourself just individually, what time you need for your clients and for lawyering, and what time you need for running the business. And so being aware of when you are more productive, being aware of when you're less productive. I'm not my most productive first thing in the morning. That's just not how I have the most energy. That's not when I'm the most productive. And so I know that about me. And so I don't plan a heavy calendar for myself first thing in the morning, because it doesn't work for my schedule and just for how I get things done and just how my brain works and how I get work done. And so it's important for you to know this as well, as far as what works for you, and then figure out a schedule that supports your most productive time of day, that supports when you have the most energy. We don't need to keep working against ourselves and forcing us to get high productivity work done when we're at our least productive point in the day. don't set yourself up for failure, right? Figure out when you are more productive and plan those activities that require more of your attention during those times. And the times that you are maybe less productive, maybe that's when you're going through your email inbox, right? Maybe that's when you're returning phone calls, when it doesn't take as much mental capacity to get the work done, right? So planning your schedule, because I have, told you many, many times that your email inbox should not be open all day long. You should not be answering phone calls, returning phone calls all day long. You should have designated times to do those activities because it's not productive for you. It's not a good use of your time. So you should have preset times in your day for checking and returning emails and following up on phone calls. It should not be all day long. So those are things that you can schedule. Maybe you have a lower productivity level than versus when you have a higher productivity level. Also, when you have a to-do list that is a mile long every day, it is overwhelming. It is such a burden. It hinders your ability or even your desire to get those things done. Opening up your calendar and seeing that you've got 12 things on your to-do list that you know you're not going to even get through, you're not setting yourself up for success for that day. And so we really need to make our to-do list, the task list, the goals for the day a lot smaller. There should not be so many things. Now, I get it. As attorneys, sometimes we are going to have more things on our to-do list, but we really want to try and make that smaller and figure out what can you delegate to someone else? What can you have someone help you with? And so controlling that to-do list so it's more manageable, so you can actually get through it in a day. Being able to check off all those things on your to-do list in a day feels so much better than having to roll things over every day, right? Again, it happens. There's no way to avoid it. It happens to me as well. But I don't want you to get in the habit of setting yourself up every day to have a to-do list that never ends, that you never actually get through. Along the lines of high energy and low energy times a day, is setting out your schedule as far as your work days and what that looks like and how you're going to batch your calendar. So I don't see clients 5 days a week. I see them about 2 days a week. And then I have other days in the week where I'm, getting the work done, when I'm doing more business activities or networking or other activities for running my business. And so if you are seeing clients 4 or 5 days a week, we really need to scale that down so that you're only seeing clients, maybe 2 days a week, maybe a third day a week if necessary, so that we are separating that out so you are more efficient as how you are managing your schedule. And so I will have like a Tuesday and a Thursday where I am seeing clients throughout the day. And so those aren't days that I'm getting a lot of work done. Those are days that I'm doing the consults. Maybe I'm doing signings of estate plans in my office. And then my Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are for getting the legal work done, getting, HR stuff done, running the business of my law firm. So I would encourage you to kind of restructure your work week as far as when you're doing certain activities. And if you are seeing clients 4 and 5 days a week, I would encourage you to try and scale that down to have it just be maybe 2 days a week where you're seeing clients again. Because going from client meetings to drafting motions to doing billing to just all these different activities that you're having to redirect your attention to and refocus your energy is not going to be the best use of your time, and it's going to be very exhausting to you to be kind of redirecting throughout the day versus if you just had Tuesdays for consults and you just had your consults lined up for that day and you were just going through consults and not having to redirect your energy and attention between a lot of different tasks that day. I think is a better way to structure your work week and to structure your time. Also, for those of you who are primarily hourly billing, I am primarily flat fee. I do have some hourly things that maybe I wasn't able to really get a good grasp on how to flat fee the scope of work, or there were some variables or unknowns. But I'm not primarily hourly. But for those of you who are primarily hourly, make sure you have at least one day on your calendar every month to get the bills done. For some of my clients that have a more litigious practice, they find that getting billing out twice a month is more effective. And so, the 15th and the 30th versus just getting it out on the 30th of the month is a better use, or a better way to handle their billing. And so make sure you have that on your calendar, that you're actually getting that billing done and making sure that it's going out. Now, you should be doing your time entries as you do them, right? But actually getting the invoices out, doing the billing, applying the trust balances, and setting out invoices for whatever balance is owing should be happening at least once a month, if not twice a month, again, if you're in a more litigious type of a practice. And along these same lines, entering your time as you go, or doing it at least daily, is going to help you ensure you're truly capturing the time that you're spending on getting the work done. I have a daily tracker that I have my clients use just for them to kind of see how they're spending their day and how they're spending their time, because sometimes we don't realize how much time it takes to complete a task. And so I encourage them to fill out this daily kind of time log for both billable and unbillable work, just to kind of get a better understanding of how they're spending their day, and maybe kind of see where the waste is, right? Maybe they don't realize that they're spending, an hour and a half a day on scrolling social media or playing, some games on their phone or whatnot. So being able to see kind of, if you have an 8-hour work day, how are you actually spending those 8 hours? And so those are kind of some of my tips as far as what I see being helpful for my law firm owners as far as managing their day, managing their schedule, productivity tips. But one of the biggest things that I can see, and this is kind of just overarching, is that making commitments to yourself and actually honoring them. So if you say, if today is Tuesday, and if you say on Wednesday, I'm going to do A, B, and C, when Wednesday comes, you're probably not going to feel like doing A, B, and C, right? It's kind of inevitable. You're not going to want to do it a lot of times. And so, but honoring the commitment that you made to yourself on that Tuesday of what you're going to do on Wednesday, and just getting it done. And it's a non-negotiable for you. You made a commitment to yourself and to your firm and to your clients or anyone else that you're going to do those things on that day. So ensuring that you're following through on your commitment to yourself, to your firm, to your clients, to get those things done. A lot of times we negotiate against ourselves, where we decide what we're going to do for the next week or the next day. And then when that day or week comes, we don't feel like doing it. So we push it off, we delay it, we procrastinate it. And so not negotiating against yourself and actually honoring those commitments that you made, that the prior version of yourself made for yourself, to actually follow through on those. It's kind of one of the biggest, again, kind of all-encompassing commitments that I can encourage you to make for yourself and to uphold for yourself. Your future self will thank you for honoring the commitments that you made to yourself beforehand, right? And so I would encourage you to try a few of these things and to honor commitments to yourself that you've made for yourself and for your clients, again, for your firm, to actually follow through on those things. So if you're always feeling like you're kind of scrambling, procrastinating, behind the ball, you're always putting out fires, you may find that you are continually in a reactive state. And we want to get you into a more proactive state where we're ahead of the ball, we're ahead of the game, we're pre-planning, and we're being more intentional with our day and with our time, and not always trying to scramble after the fact. And so I do this work in helping my law firm owners to, get better grasp on their time, their productivity, and their business as a whole, and to run their business better. So if you need help with that, I'll have my info below, but hopefully this helps you to maximize your productivity and you have some takeaways that you can start working on in your firm. And I will see you in the next video. All right, thank you.